Welcome back to Books and Banter. I'm Coral.
I'm Jamie.
And today we are at the beautiful Norman West Library admiring their beautiful tree that you can see about 20% of in this video. But we are here to kind of just celebrate our favorite reads of the year. I read a lot of books this year. Jamie, I'm sure, has read a ton of books this year. So these are our top books. So, Jamie, what is a top book of the year?
Okay, so one of mine was Queer Cinera by Alex Crespo. It's a young adult novel. It's about a boy named Joaquin who has come out as gay, and like his whole entire family, like his dad and his sister, have been supportive of him, so supportive that they decide to throw him a Queer Cinera, a party to celebrate his coming out. But he has a couple of issues. One, he needs a date.
Mm-hmm.
Two, he's not sure if his mom is going to attend because she hasn't been like the most accepting of him being gay. So as for the first issue, a little mix-up leads to his family thinking that he is dating his friend Felix. And so Felix agrees. They kind of decide to agree to do like a fake dating scheme. And he's going to be Alex's date for the party. And while that, like, the romance part of it is really cute. What I really liked about this book was his dealing with his relationship with his mom. And just sort of like, I don't know, I feel like it gave it like a little bit more depth than just a typical romance. But yeah, it was a really sweet story. It was a quick read for me. It's not super long. And it is available in print and audio and ebook on Libby. So, all right, what was one of your top books, Coral?
So one of my top books this year was really a surprise for me. It was The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab. So I'm not the biggest fantasy reader. I definitely was getting into it this year. But this is one of those books that a book club picked, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this one. I don't know if I'm going to finish it. Because it is, high magic, lots of backstory, lots of characters. But once I got into it, I loved this book. This book, it's kind of a continuation of the Darker Shades of Magic trilogy by the same author, but I hadn't read those and I was able to understand this book. So it basically follows, it's in this world where there are multiple different Londons, kind of parallel universes stacked on top of each other, and there are special people with the magic to jump between the universes. They used to be able to travel a lot, but now they've kind of sealed themselves off. But when one of the Londons is threatened, the characters kind of have to jump between and try to stop this madness, stop this chaos. There's different characters narrate. You're kind of jumping all over the place, which I liked. It makes the book, despite it being quite a large book, it moves really fast because of that. And, I enjoy multiple character books because, if you don't like so-and-so, but you still like the book, you can still get through the book. But yeah, this definitely was a top read for me this year, and it is available in print, on Libby as an ebook and an e-audiobook, and on Hoopla as an e-audiobook. So you've got a ton of ways to read this one.
Nice. Okay, so one of my other favorite books of this year was a little bit of a darker read. It's called The Devil at His Elbow, Alex Murdoch and the Fall of a Southern Dynasty by Valerie Borline. So this is a nonfiction book, and so Borline is a reporter for the Wall Street Journal, and she usually covers like small town America and Southern politics. But she wrote this true crime book about the Murdaugh family. So if you're not familiar, Alex Murdoch was convicted of murdering his wife and son. They died in 2021, and he was convicted in March of 2023. And so Borline attended the trial, but she doesn't just focus on him though and his story. She also focuses on like his family history, and he comes from a long line of just not great people. So I just felt this was really a well-researched book. It was really well written, and I think it's one of the best true crime books that I've read in like the last couple of years, maybe. So yeah, this one is available on print and in audio and ebook on Libby.
Yeah, and then I read, kind of on the complete opposite side, I read kind of some people may call it a romantasy. It's definitely more romance than fantasy. But I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood.
You've been
This
talking about this book so much.
I've been talking about this book nonstop. I torment my coworkers with this book probably daily. So this follows Misery. Her twin brother's name is Owen, but her name is Misery. Artie was hooked from this. And she is a vampire. And in this world she lives in, there's kind of the vampire part of town, there's the human part of town, and then there's the werewolf part of town. So because things are changing, the werewolves and the vampires are trying to come to an agreement to be peaceful and to stop fighting. So Misery is kind of forced to marry the alpha of the werewolf pack. I love this book, y'all. His name is Lo. But the reason she agrees to do it is not because she wants to, but because her best friend, a human, has gone missing. So she is looking for this human. And she's going to use the werewolves to kind of help her. It's your kind of classic silly romance. It's a fantasy. It's one of those books that when you first start reading, you're like, wait a second, what am I reading? But by the end, I mean, I've talked to multiple people who read this. We all have read it in 24 hours. Like you jump in and it hooks you. So it's definitely something that is a little silly. You kind of have to suspend some disbelief. But if you like romance, I recommend giving this one a try. And it is available in print on Libby as an ebook and an e-audiobook.
Nice. Okay, so we're also going to share like just a few titles that we also really like, but we're not going to go into much detail, but just a few others. I read House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I know that one came out in 2020, but the sequel, Somewhere Beyond the Sea, it just came out this year. And I had House in the Cerulean Sea recommended to me by multiple people. So I finally read it. I love that book. It was amazing. I listened to the audio. I highly recommend the audio. The cast of characters, the voices that the guy does for the cast of characters is amazing. So that one is just, I had someone describe it to me, like when they were trying to tell me to read it, that it's like a warm hug. And I was like, after I read it, I'm like, yes, they were exactly right. It's just like a little warm hug. So I also really enjoyed the Friday Afternoon Club, a family memoir by Griffin Dunn. It's actor, writer, director. So he grew up in Hollywood. He was like best friends with Carrie Fisher. So he had like lots of interesting stories. And I also read Lisa Marie's memoir. It's kind of from, oh my gosh, I blanked on the name, but like From Here to the Great Unknown, I think. But it's narrated, I listened to the audiobook as well, and narrated by Julia Roberts, but her daughter Riley finished the book for her, and she like interjects throughout the book, like with her own like little insights. So
Yeah, and some of my honorable mentions would be My Vampire Plus One by Jenna Levine. I talked about that in an earlier video, and then I went and read it. Fun, quirky, very much if you're into that kind of silly romance. Definitely a great choice. Funny Story or any book by Emily Henry is always going to make my list every year. She's an incredible writer. I feel like she's one of those writers that can just capture these characters who feel so realistic. I finally read The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I cried for 45 minutes. Top book of the year. And then Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage, the third out of 4 in her Rebel Blue Ranch series. If you like a Western romance, Lila Sage is really at the top of the game right now.
Nice. Okay, well, those were just some of our top reads for 2024. As always, be sure and check the content warnings of any book that you check out. Ask one of our librarians for a recommendation if you need one. Subscribe to our channel and check out more of our videos if you want some more book recommendations. And have a great rest of your year, and we will see you. We're going to take a few weeks break, and then we will see you in 2025. Bye!